Jordyn finished Fourth Wing, and I got some play-by-play as she was finishing reading it, but this will be our last Fourth Wing book talk before we move on to Iron Flame. Please share with me your overall thoughts on Fourth Wing as a whole.
Absolutely. And always, as listeners, if you have not read Fourth Wing yet, spoilers. If you are hopping off now, again, I'm just going to give a quick follow us, subscribe, because we are going to get into our book discussions as of right now. 3, 2, 1. Holy fucking shit. Sam knows there was a period halfway through this book where I was a little unsure. And I was like, I love the characters. I love the vibe. I love the school. I love the dragons. I was like, this concept is phenomenal. But there were a good 150 pages where it was just Xaden and Violet flirting and not doing anything. And I'm all for an enemies to lovers. But in a book like that, I was like, I want action. Like, I was like, I don't care with the flirty eyes. I'm like, just hook up, like do it. You're in love with each other. Like, and then they would kiss and hate each other again. And then they kiss. Yeah. I was like, I need more. Like, give me more. And oh my God, did we get more? Holy
we
shit.
Certainly did. Yes.
Oh my God. I was reading and I was like, chapter 30. I was like sweating.
Yeah.
God, and my boyfriend was away on vacation. It was a lot. It was overwhelming, but oh my God. And I had a feeling, we've talked about it, Fourth Wing is set to be a 5-book series. And I've read a lot of fantasy. So I had a feeling, I was like, I need to stick with this because the first book in a fantasy series is always setting up so much. So I was like, I know they're building tension. Like, I know things are about to get crazy. And by the end of the book, I rated it a 5 stars. By the end, I was like, it all was worth it. It all makes sense. Yep. I was obsessed. And the ending to that book with the venom and the fights and the lightning, I was like mind blown. I was like, this is what I was waiting for. And it exceeded every expectation. It was just like the last 80 pages of that book. So I remember even you were like, I can't believe you're this far in and shit hasn't started happening yet. And I was like, I
forgot when it happened.
Fucking waiting for it. And I have like 80 pages left. And I was like, how does this end? Like, what happens? And then all of a sudden I was like, like it happens. I was devastated at the loss of Liam.
Girl, when you said it on the show last week, I think, or 2 weeks, last week, and you were like, I like Liam. And I was like, I have to hold it together right now because that was a rough one. It was a really rough one.
And like, I get it. Like, authors have to kill off characters. Like, that's how you keep things. That's how you hurt people, and you read to be hurt in some ways. But it was poetic, but holy shit, did it crush me. And the whole time I was like, no, like there's going to be some miracle. Like, I was sobbing and I was like, he's going to live. Like, something's going to happen. And then all of a sudden he was dead. And I was like, well, fuck.
And not spoiling anything, there's this very specific part of Iron Flame, and you'll know it when you get to it, that I need to hear your thoughts on.
Okay.
Because it was not hard to read, but I was just like, oh my God, this is intense. But you'll know it when you get to it based off of this conversation. But yeah, and the thing was too, it was like Liam didn't die, right? His dragon died, and it was almost like he was just like, well, my dragon is dead, which means I'm gonna go soon. And you were like, wait, no, we could fix this. Yes. And like, which is exactly how Violet was feeling too, right? Like, she was just like, oh my God, like trying to, make it. Oh my God, it's just tragic. So tragic.
And the way Rebecca Yarros writes, and I don't know if she's written any other books or series besides Fourth Wing. This is the first I'm ever reading her.
I don't think so.
She does such an incredible job portraying deep emotion, like even in the way like Violet cares about Xaden, and like when Violet was losing Liam, like holding him, and like you physically feel Violet's anxiety, her sadness, like her lust. Like I just, because that's really hard to do in an effective way, especially because she writes like their dialogue is very modern and very casual and very funny. And I feel like it's so easy for that to become cheesy. Colleen Hoover. But she nails it and it's awesome. And again, like the good emotions, the bad emotions, like you just feel like I felt like I lost a friend reading that. And it was so sad. And then obviously the twist that I texted you and I was like, I knew it. There was
how you knew it. I don't know.
Babe, once you read Throne of Glass, you will realize anything is possible. And so like I started thinking, and like when they talked about she was dying, they needed a healer. I was like, Brennan was a healer. I was like, Brennan is somehow going to be alive. And like, even in the moment, like I was like, that's a crazy thought. There's no way. And then it happened. And I was like, let's fuck it. And like, it wasn't one of those plots. Like I wasn't mad. I was like, that's what I want. Like, that's the crazy twist ending that I want. And I was like, I hope he's a part of the revolution. And then he is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ah. But also like, as sick as it was, like writing and plot twist, that's so fucked up to like fake your death for your family to the point that your father's heart gives out and dies from mourning you. Like when Violet really called him out and he was like, well, I thought you had dad. And she goes, until we didn't. And I was like, oh,
bitch, yeah, because it's true. He didn't obviously kill his father, but he is the reason his father died.
Yes.
And like, it's crazy. I don't know how far into Iron Flame you are, but eventually more characters figure out Brennan is alive, and it is
obviously,
yes, and it is equally as like as more than Violet. Do you want to get into Iron Flame?
Yes, I want to. I was like, before you say anything, let me tell you where I'm at, just so nothing. Fuck, where am I at? They just got fucking bags over their heads and were dropped in a field with a bunch of infantry. And I didn't like, nothing's really, that was where I left off just because I ran out of time on my lunch break today. So I don't know why they're in this field. I don't know what the hell is going on, but they literally just, and she's like, at least it wasn't another assassination attempt. And I was like, you poor girl. Like,
no, she's like, she's finding the silver lining of things. But so obviously, you know who Varish is.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. Fuck, he almost just killed her.
He is literally like the Umbridge of this series. Yeah. He is the absolute worst. I hate him so much.
And even Professor, or not Professor, what do they call them? Is it Professor Carr?
Yeah, I think everybody's a professor.
Professor. When Carr, because like when you meet Carr, the first time you ever see him is him killing a cadet for their signet coming out, like, and you're like, oh, so you think he's like this really mean, awful guy, and then obviously he takes her out on Tarn, and he's definitely one of those characters where they're like not soft or friendly in any way, like they're brutal, but like it's just to like make you better. That's the vibes I get from him. And even he was talking, and he was like, you are going to kill her, and I do not support any of this. And like he even said, like, the dragons don't listen to you. They won't listen to her. Like, they're dragons. They'll just light you on fire.
Yeah.
Speaking of dragons lighting things on fire, Varish's dragon, like, after everyone just crosses the parapet, they're all in formation with their squads for the first time. His dragon lights them up. And I was like, what is
Damn, I forgot about that. Yes. Yeah, no, he's the fucking worst, and his dragon is the fucking worst.
Yeah, and I don't know what the beef is. I know there's beef with Tarn, and it begins with an S. Sola or something like that. Solas. It's his dragon's name. And I know there's beef. I don't know what the history is there yet, but you know, it's getting good. She went to visit Xaden once. And they had this like really, really intense makeout session. And that's when she was like, literally have sex with me. And he was like, no. Yeah. And now their roles are switched. And he was like, I'm not doing it until you tell me that you love me again. And she was like, you're literally the one who wanted to hook up with no feelings. And he's like, now I want every fucking feeling, like feel everything for me. And he was like, and I'm not doing anything until you do. And I was like, that's a gentleman.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, he definitely like comes to where he realizes like Violet is very important to him.
yes.
And like he's like, I'm not gonna give in to my feelings because you're not reciprocating those feelings to me yet.
Yes.
But he's like, I know you have them. You just have to tell me
Yes.
that you
And
have them.
it was so crazy because the first time that they saw each other, I can't remember, not the first time they saw each other, but it was like when they were separating to some degree. And he was like, I want to hear those 3 words. And she thought the 3 words he wanted to hear was, I want you. Like, she was like, oh, he just wants to sleep with me again. And then so she was like, I want you, I want you, I want you. And he's like, no, he was like, the 3 words I want to hear is that you love me, bitch. But also there was another point. Tell me honestly, and I'm saying this as what I like to consider myself, a strong, independent female who just is in love with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
But, and I encourage strong, independent females always. Violet, I think, is being a little dramatic with Xaden in terms of the secrets. I understand you want to know everything about this man, but he is literally hiding a revolution, and people can read your mind and see your thoughts if they briefly touch you. I'm like, he is saving you and the entire world. And in those situations, I think it's okay. And he literally, like she said, she was like, I'm not taking you back until you tell me everything. He was like, that's literally not going to happen, and you're going to take me back anyway. Like,
yeah. No, I 100% agree, especially because we know Dane's signet now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we know Dane also was very distrustful towards Violet and stole her memories without her even knowing. No, I definitely I mean, it's at the same time, you have to remember she's like 20, 21. Yeah. Like that's how you react as a young person. You're like, tell me everything about you. Stop keeping secrets from me. But he's not keeping them from her because he wants to not tell her. He's keeping them for her for like the sake of humanity and dragons and like the world.
It'd be one thing if all she had to do was lie and like put up a front, and like then I feel like everything. You can be trained to lie, like in that world, fine. But when again, it's out of her control. Like people can just take things from her. And oh my god, what's the professor who can just see the outcome of things?
Oh, General Malgren.
And she doesn't have like, so if there are 3 of the rebellion kids with the relics, if there's 3 or more, he can't see the outcome. Right. But she doesn't have a relic. No matter what she's doing, he could, even if she's right. Like, I'm like, you are a danger to the revolution that's going to save the fucking world. So again, she is one of the realest. We're over, and I promise I'll wrap this up. But
no, you're good.
She is one of the realest female book characters ever, though, because she's literally in class and she's like, this is from Fourth Wing. And she was like, I know I have to pay attention. And literally in her mind, her and Xaden are talking through the bond. And she's like, are you hooking up with other people? And he's like, can you fucking listen? Like, this is your education. And she's like, you've been with other people, haven't you? And he's like, I'm blocking you out. Like,
I love when they tell her, like, say, like, they put the, he, like, locks his shields down or, like, whatever. And that's just him literally, like, giving her the hand. Like, bitch, shut the fuck up. And her to him, too. Like, she's just like, bitch, shut the fuck up. I can't deal with this anymore.
I think it's so funny. But the fact that, like, the world is ending, all this shit's going on. She's in battle brief. I'm pretty sure her and Liam at the time had, like, just found, like, that one scroll that, like, they definitely shouldn't have seen. And she was, like, putting together that, like, the school was hiding things. And she's in this class, and all she's thinking about is if Xaden's talking to other people. And he's like, can you please stop? And that's when they had that moment later, and he was like, I was so upset that you even fucking thought that. Like,
no, it's their relationship is very real because it isn't just like a perfect relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that she's a little dramatic, but at the same time, you have to take into consideration how young she is and also just like the circumstances. So I
Yeah.
see both sides. But yeah, there's a lot of back and forth in Iron Flame too that I'm like kind of pisses me off a little. But we'll talk about it more when you get farther into the book.